Hello again and welcome to the channel. My name is Annie and this is my creative detour. I'd like to say a big thank you to all my regulars for your lovely comments and for your likes and hypes. I really appreciate it. And a big hello to the new subscribers that have joined the channel. And I hope that you really enjoy catching up on some of the videos that are there for you to watch. Now in my last video I made these really large numbers. And some of you really liked it, but you were thinking, how are you going to use them, Annie? Well, today's the day. I'm going to do my first project where I use these numbers, and it's a bit of a quick project actually because a lot of the hard work is already done with creating the numbers. And I've got quite a few ideas of how to use these. They were super fun to make and they were fun to play with today. I have created some junk journal cover toppers, and I also have done a page cluster, so you can use them for either, but I'm going to show you just quickly how I put one together, and then I will show you at the end the other three that I've got made. I've actually glued one in my journal and I've got two for toppers. So the one that we make together today I will probably use as a page cluster, which will mean I'll have two page clusters and two journal toppers. Now, if you'd like to see how I made these big numbers, it's on my last video on the channel, but I will link it below in the description, and I'll also put a link to the video at the end of this video. So it will be easy for you to find. It'll also be in my Junk Journal Gestures playlist. So a few places for you to see it if you'd like to catch up and watch me making these giant numbers that we can use for ephemera. All right, I'll get set up and we'll put this one together. So I have a few things just to glue together. I will ink some of them first and just put a little bit of colour onto them, especially these Tim Holtz paper dolls. I'll put a little bit of vintage photo onto them just to take off that really grayscale stark white. I hope you're having a good week. I've had a nice week. I did my normal catch up with my mother today. She was working on some Christmas tags that she's been doing for a little while, and I was getting these bits together, but we had a lovely catch up. Now, I have these two lovely girls here that are obviously sisters, and I have a sentiment that says, remember to play. And the reason I pulled these out was because, well, one, it's got the number 2, so two sisters, and they love playing together. And also, I often watch my grandchildren playing. It's lovely seeing them play, and it reminds me of myself playing with my brother when I was little, and then our children playing together. And when you grow up, you do forget to play a little bit. My husband and I, we joke around quite a bit and have a bit of a laugh, but you don't often get to play because we're all busy with life as adults. Now, you can see that I'm just laying it out, but I have a little bit of fibre left over from this piece of fabric. Now, I'm going to set the two onto this piece of fabric at the end so that it gives a base for me to glue it down either to a cover or to a page, and also means that I can shape it and put some other things into it and add some texture and that down the track. So it just will give me a few options. So I just have this little bit of fibre left over from doing that, and I thought, why waste it? I think I'll glue it on as if it's part of this bird's nest. Now, these little girls have been out playing in the meadow or in the bush or in the field, and they came across a bird's nest, one here, and it had a little bird sitting on some eggs, and they were out playing in the field and made some discoveries. And isn't it lovely when you watch children play and just get lost in discovery and exploration? And sometimes when the children are in our backyard, they'll come into me if I'm at my desk, because I've got a lovely set of glass doors in my studio that looks out to the backyard, and we have, you know, quite a bit of space in the yard with some gardens and, you know, grassed area to play soccer. And they often will knock at the door and say, "Nonna, can you give us a treasure hunt?" And I will often write down a checklist for them to go and discover things. And so it reminded me a little bit of that. Now I'm just going to put some washi on this. I think I need to ground these girls on something. And because it is a number, I think I'll just pull out this All and Create MT number 2 that has some numbers on it. And I just think I want to put a few numbers down as a bit of grounding so that they're not hovering in space. They're actually standing on something. Pop that down there like that. And then we'll use a little piece of this again, just at the top, so that it has a little bit of relevance. So you can see that after you've made your numbers from the last video and you've just got them in your stash, it's very easy to pull a little cluster together and use the number as your base to give some sort of a background, but also to springboard an idea. You know, like I've got the number 2, so my story is about 2 girls. So it does make the process much quicker of pulling something together. Oh yes, that little bit of washi looks all right. And our birds can sit on the bottom of the number 2 on its foot. And we've got a play and another flower and another flower. So let's just glue this together. So yes, I've had a fun day. I did some planning for this video and I made a few of our journal toppers. And my mother is trying to finish off her Christmas tags. I think that we're going to go on to making some gift bags, because she's going to need some gift bags for Christmas. So I think that we might be going to do that in the next week or so. Once she's finished her tags, I think she's had enough of the Christmas tags. But we have a good chat while we're doing craft together. It's lovely to catch up. All right, we've got a lovely little bird here. So let's glue him on. Now the ones that I have made, as usual, in a typical Annie fashion, they're very different. They're not all the same style or theme. They're all a little bit different. But that's nice because it means that I can use them in different ways. Oh, that little bit of fibre on there looks good, doesn't it? Adds a little bit more texture. And we will pop on our label, Remember to Play. Now, as you can see, I'm using some Tim Holtz paper dolls. I'm not sure which pack this is out of because I've got a couple of packs and they've all kind of got mixed up together, unfortunately. It could have been a Christmas one or I really don't know, I'm sorry. And then I'm also using an All and Create number 23, and it's Light, Life and Love. And it's got a few little flowers and birds and bees and things like that in, hearts. As you can see, a really quick project once you've got your number made. So I'm thrilled that I mass made those and did put together more than what I thought I would need, because now I can just make a few things fairly quickly. There we go, Remember to Play. I might just put a little bit of watercolour on here just to ground these girls a little bit, because I think they need grounding a little bit more. So I'll grab out my watercolours and I'll be back. Now it's looking like to me that this little girl's face is in shadow on this side and the light source is coming this way. So let's stick to that. We'll put some shadows around this side. And I'm just using my Derwent watercolours. So let's just hit that with a little bit of water and blend it out. And I put down some blue first. I put down Prussian blue, and now I'll just come back with a little bit of black. Not a lot. I'm not talking. I'm too busy thinking. Yes, that's good. That just adds a little bit of depth. I think I'll just lift a little bit of this. It's a bit much. Okay, that's good. Okay, so we'll glue this to our background, and I'm just putting it on a background so that it gives some mounting information. Also gives me an opportunity to tuck some things in, which I think I mentioned. Now what I'll do is I am just going to glue it in the center, not around the edge. So I'll put glue all here, and then I'm going to lay it onto my fabric and just push that on. But I'm not going to glue it all the way to the edge, and that's so that when I put this onto a journal or a page, if I want to, I can come back in and I can tuck, something else in behind and add extra information. I might want to add a label or a sentiment, or I might want to add another number or something like that. So I'm not going to glue it all the way to the edge. I'm going to leave it so that when I go to use this in a journal or on a journal, it is adaptable. I will just add in a few white splatters. Let's do that. So we'll just put a few white splatters down. Make sure that we miss the girl's face. So there we go. I'll clean up and let this dry, and then we'll come back and I'll show you the other 3 examples. Won't be a moment. Okay, let me show you the girls. So there we go. That's a lovely little page cluster, isn't it? And the number 2 is there in the background. It's not overly dominant, but it's giving a nice base for the story to be built on. And I'm really happy with how it turned out. So you can see that on a page it would look lovely. Let's put it on a page that's pink. And the story's lovely, remembering to play, and the 2 girls have found a bird's nest and discovered something new, and they've got lovely flowers everywhere. So there we go. That's it as a page cluster. Let's have a look if we put it onto a journal as a journal topper. So it looks quite nice on there. The colour palette is not right, but it's looking nice on the journal. There we go. Hopefully you can see that the glare's not too bright on those paper dolls. So there's one. Let me show you the page cluster that I put in my journal. Here's one, and it's a number 3, and it's 3 friends. And the story is that the 3 men, they live in Boston, so you can see it's got buildings in the background, and they're catching a train to Detroit from Boston, and then they're continuing on to Alaska, just the 3 of them. And you can see that I've also put down some gold chocolate wrapper because it's the gold rush, and they're going to go to Alaska to try and find some gold and become gold fossikers. We've got some railway tickets here, and we've got a bus ticket here, and I've just done a little bit of stamping, and I've put it into a faux envelope, and you can see in the background there's also some writing, as if they've written some letters to their mum to say hooray. It's got some texture on it just to simulate some snowy mountains and texture. So there we go. There's our 3 friends heading to Alaska to try and find some gold. I'll just bring it up a bit closer for you, so that you can see the number 3 is just a background that I've been able to build the story onto. I just stamped out a few tickets in some coordinating colours and used a few digitals and some rubbish. So there's our page cluster. So we've got 2 page clusters. Now let's have a little look at our journal topper. We have another one here, and this is of a gentleman who is a freight tycoon, and he owns 5 locomotive engines and lots of carriages, and he transports goods all over the Scandinavian Baltic area. And so that's why he's dressed in a really thick coat, and he's got some leather gloves and a nice warm hat. And you can see that I've got stamps on it because he's obviously travels a lot with his business. And you can see that also there's time, because if he's catching trains and he's watching his trains all the time, he is really focused on time. So he's got a fob watch that tucks into his coat pocket, and I've just got it sitting there behind some ephemera that has sort of rusty steel bits on it as if it's part of the train. So there we go, there's his story. And I've just done some white splatters and a little bit of texture as if it's snowy in the background. So he turned out quite nice as well. And he looks good there on the journal. And then my last one is of a young couple who just got married, and they are newlyweds, and this gentleman here is a farmer, and he has a vegetable farm. And his new bride said to him, I would like to farm flowers. So you can see here, 2 have become 1, and then we've got a whole lot of flowers around them to symbolize their love blooming and their new life starting. And they're starting a flower garden that is going to hopefully be very prosperous for them. And you can see here the farm has been inspected by number 5, and I've just got a jump ring there with some flowers on, and they've got some numbers there just to symbolize the different numbers on their different species of plants. And I've just got some netting in the background, similar to what I did with the others, so that I've got somewhere that I can glue it to, and it just holds everything together. And also the net is because in gardening you use nets all the time, so I thought the netting was really appropriate. So there's our young couple that are starting a new life together. They're pretty cute too, aren't they? They look nice as a journal topper or as a page cluster. So there you go. I hope you really enjoyed that. I know that some of you were wondering, Annie, what are you going to do with these big numbers? And you can see that the number in most of them is just a background that you can load onto and create a story. And it does help you start a story by picking out a particular number that has a certain style or theme to it. So if you want to give the numbers a go, like I said, I will have the link below in the description or at the end of the video. And if you like today's project of the toppers and the page clusters, give the video a like, that would be great. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, think about subscribing, it just helps the channel grow. And let me know in the comments below which is your favourite. I think that this couple here are my favourite because it's full of hope and excitement, this one, of something new. They were super fun to do, and they didn't take very long. As you could see, I put the little girls together pretty quickly, and they were easy to do. So thanks so much for watching today. I hope you really enjoyed it, and have a great weekend, everybody. I hope you have an opportunity to make something exciting in your crafty space, and I will see you again very soon with another project. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. Bye for now.